As so many of us are doing this year, Samsung has decided that, in PCs anyway, 2021 is a year for course correcting.
Last year gave us the Galaxy Chromebook, a Fiesta Red tryhard that was the first to bring a 4K OLED screen to Google-powered laptops, and the Galaxy Book Flex, a royal blue beauty of a PC with a wireless charging coil hidden beneath the mousepad. And both of these featured integrated S Pen styli. Flash forward to March of 2021. The Galaxy Chromebook 2 boasted the same Fiesta flourish, but under the hood it was a more pragmatic product. And arriving just in time for the summer is the brand new Galaxy Book Pro 360 I've just spent about 2 weeks with. It's one of the lightest and thinnest PCs in its class, but at the expense of a little excitement. It's those excised extras that struck me with a little sad face, so let me start with those. There's no Qi charger hidden beneath the trackpad this year, so you'll need a cable to top up your phone or earbuds from the laptop battery. Also, while the Pro 360 does come with a redesigned, girthier S Pen in the box, there's no longer a silo in which to stick it. Instead, you've got to rely on a rather anemic set of magnets to pin it precariously to either side of the lid. Samsung says it plans to offer a laptop sleeve with a pen pocket sold separately. No timetable on that yet.
Hi, mid-edit Mr. Mobile here. Isn't this video quality better than that webcam? Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. Anyway, David Kogan was talking to me and he told me I'm an idiot. The pen doesn't go on the sides of the lid, apparently. It goes onto the top right there. But do you know what I'm going to say about that? David, do you know what I'm going to say about that?
Still not good.
Still not very good. Still not strong enough. Still want a silo. Still want a garage. Still not my favorite implementation of a stylus. But thank you, David Kogan.
You're welcome.
That's all you need to say.
The louder concern I've seen has to do with the wiggles. And yes, there's definitely some give to this laptop. If you're the type who notices the flex of the deck when you're clacking the keys, then you should probably consider a more robust machine. But while I understand that concern, I don't share it. Get a more rigid notebook, and more often than not, you're going to get one that's thicker and heavier. And at 3 pounds and half an inch thick, this machine is more portable than any 15-inch PC I've used since I last tested an LG Gram. While it doesn't pack the ports of that competitor, you do get the concession of being able to charge from either side, or pop in a micro SD card to augment the terabyte of storage. In other spec news, it's powered by an 11th generation Core i7 with options for 8 or 16 gigs of RAM, and if you want to step down the size and pad out the ports, there's a non-convertible option available at 13 inches. Me, I'm a sucker for a keyboard with a numpad, so the 15-incher suits me better, as does this striking colorway. Mystic Bronze translates wonderfully from the phone world to the PC, as does the AMOLED technology that drives that display. If you're a fan of saturation and contrast, and you happen to be on a rewatch of Mad Men like I am, you won't be able to get enough of this panel, particularly when the keyboard is folded under to put that screen front and center. If, on the other hand, you're watching crisper content, or you're driven to a frenzy by the slightest hint of a jagged serif, well, you might want to reconsider. Topping out at just full HD means you can see the pixels if you get close enough. And what's worse? A year of being inside has made me all but foam at the mouth to work outside. But this laptop doesn't get bright enough to let you do that. Even indoors in a well-lit room, with a top brightness of just 370 nits, I find I always have to max it out. And that, in turn, nullifies any battery advantage the machine might have enjoyed by settling for this lesser resolution. I don't know, maybe I'm spoiled by the 8 hours I get from my Pixelbook Go, or stinging from the typical manufacturer overpromise of 20 hours. But the 5.5 hours of continuous heavy use I got from this 68 watt-hour battery seemed just okay. You know, if I'm spending this kind of money, I'd really prefer to choose one compromise from the pile of resolution, brightness, and battery life, not have to settle in all 3 departments.
Speaking of compromise, here's a few more. This webcam is limited to 720p and it's mounted on a really wobbly lid, so that's kind of a pain to deal with no matter how many fun beautification tools Samsung gives you to play with in the software.
Also, while I find the scissor key switches with their 1mm travel plenty comfortable to type on, the oversized trackpad is another story. You'll probably want to disable touch taps to cut down on erroneous inputs caused by grazing it with your palms. And finally, if you stream a lot of Spotify like I do, these bottom-firing speakers are not impressive. And there are no media keys up in the function row to control that music. No track skip, not even a player pause.
Bummer.
If those cons don't put you off, you'll be happy to hear that we can end this video on a few pros. And not just the little things like a fast fingerprint sensor or the skin of its teeth passing of the one-handed opening test. I'm talking about the added value that Samsung brings to Windows. Most of the time when I'm talking about manufacturer preloaded software, I call it bloat. And there's a little bit of that here. But there's also a bunch of Samsung software that's legitimately useful. There's an app that lets you combine voice notes with written memos, which I could see being very useful for students. There's a video editor called Studio Plus. Dex lets you remotely access a Samsung smartphone, or Microsoft's Your Phone app wirelessly does so. And there's a whole new security hub that is full of fluff, yeah, but it also does include a toggle to disable the machine's microphone and camera, which anyone who's had or seen an unfortunate Zoom bathroom incident will certainly appreciate. You can extend your screen to a second device if you own a Galaxy Tab, though annoyingly not a Galaxy Fold. And even the screen recorder I used to capture most of these clips is from Samsung, which was much more convenient to use than dealing with the Xbox Game Bar's arbitrary limitations. And the cherry on top of it all is the S Pen, which brings with it enough note-taking and art-making capability to justify the 360 rotation that gives this convertible its name. Pro tip, if you want to retain the AirView features that pop up with a button press, stick with the one in the box. But I love the old-school feel of this Stettler Norris digital S Pen, which I just found lying around here. I think it's a leftover from one of the old Galaxy Note reviewer kits. Anyway, you should be able to use any Wacom EMR-compatible stylus on this display. The 15-inch Galaxy Book Pro 360 starts at around $1,300 before trade-ins and other offers. And that price point pits it directly against a lot of laptops of every size, shape, and specialty. But if it's extreme portability you're looking for, the only things in the same neighborhood that I've used are the LG Gram notebooks I mentioned earlier, which trade convertible capability for additional ports. But they don't have the S Pen, nor Samsung's software, and by and large, their screens don't get bright enough in the sunlight either. So, compromises aside, I'm still confident in calling the Galaxy Book Pro 360 a solid go-to for those who need portability alongside their power. To see how much power we're talking, particularly on the graphics side, check out Daniel Rubino's review at Windows Central, plus David Kogan test-edited a video on this thing over at TheUnlockr. This review was produced following 13 days with a review sample provided by Samsung, but Michael Fisher works for you, not the manufacturers. No company paid a fee for this coverage or was granted editorial input or an early preview of same. Until next time, thanks for watching, and please, if it's available where you live, do what I did and get that vaccine so we can all, once again, stay mobile, my friends.